Hi there everybody, Dave here from Hey You Guys, and we have a record-breaking number of people on this call. Today we have Jon,
Hello, bonjour.
Scott,
Hello.
and Stefanovic Papovic.
Hi there.
Team Hey You Guys.
I forgot that was my new name.
Yeah, that's your middle name. And we are here today to talk about the releases of the week. And we shall start with Go Go Power Rangers. There it is. Scott and Stefan, I believe you guys have seen this one. Is it any good?
Yeah, actually. Well, no, I mean, it's terrible, but...
Terribly good.
But it's kind of knowingly so. It's kind of really overstated and kind of absurd, but it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's one of the most playful, irreverent kind of blockbusters I've seen in quite a while. And for that, it kind of lets itself off the hook in quite a lot of instances. So if you were to actually judge it, each kind of aspect, you look at the screenplay and the acting and the story and all the different kind of elements that make this movie, each one you just be like, that's awful. How is this even turned into a film? But when it all comes together, it actually creates this quite beautiful mess, I think.
A beautiful mess. I mean, there's like 1,000,001 different TV versions, and I don't know if you've seen any of them, but they are ridiculously over the top, but not knowingly so. I guess maybe that's what they've learned in the last sort of 20 years.
I did used to watch the show as a kid, but only the first one. I mean, hasn't there been like Power Force and Samurai
Thousands of them.
hundreds and hundreds. Stefan's right. I mean, it is nonsense and awful on many levels, but it has a kind of nice energy to it, and because it, as Stefan said, because it is how it is, it's hard to dislike. It's actually quite fun, even though it's just stupendously silly in many places and really over the top. Led by the ridiculously over the top Elizabeth Banks, who's actually really good fun as the villain.
She's
like a
really
pantomime
angry in
victim.
this picture. Look.
Yeah, she's like a pantomime. She's like a Joel Schumacher villain from a Batman movie.
Dear.
She's so over the top and so ridiculous, but she has so much fun with it that she's great.
She's done some nice photo shoots hanging out with her staff though. So.
I thought RJ Cyler, who's from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, he plays the Blue Power Ranger. He was good, I thought. And I actually thought, and also the character's got sort of autism in the movie, and also there's a gay character in the film as well. So there's some, despite the kind of the under the surface of what is actually quite a ridiculous, quite stupid film, there are a few quite nice messages, I think, for quite a young audience. I think, and it is definitely a film I think that will appeal to a family crowd because it's got the whole. I mean. It's so ridiculous and so kind of colourful and vibrant. I think kids will lap it up. But I also think that there's just enough about entertainment in there for adults too. At least maybe adults like me.
If you could be a Power Ranger, which colour would you be?
Blue. When I was a kid, there was this thing from the movie where he jumped and put 2 feet up against the wall, and I tried to do it, and I fell off and sprained my wrist.
Nice.
I still choose blue.
Scott?
Well, the one I'd be isn't in it, which is green/white, but he's
Sequel.
not in it. But out of the team, I'd be blue just because it's blue.
I like the black one. He's quite cool.
I mean, that's the coolest outfit. It just looks the coolest. But blue in the original movie when I was a kid was small and nimble, and I thought, I'd like to be that.
So there we go. So our review. Have we written a review yet?
We have written a review, yes.
Is it up?
And it is live.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
What did you give it?
Really annoying. Well, like 3 stars because it is a bad movie. It quite similar to Kong actually, which I gave Kong quite a similar review, which is I quite enjoyed it, but it wasn't very good. Except I think the difference is this is ever so slightly more affectionately absurd than Kong, which I think took itself that little bit more seriously.
So yeah, let us know what you think of Power Rangers once you've seen it. Are you a fan of the original series or series? Is that a word? And if so, let us know if this one lives up to your expectations. And if this is the first time you've ever seen or heard of anything about Power Rangers, let us know that too.
Yeah, if you've been living under a box for the last 20 years.
20 years. Well, if you're only 15, then you know.
That's true.
So anyway, so that's our thoughts on Power Rangers. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But now we're going to move on to the Lost City of Zed or Z. What do you reckon, chaps?
It's Zed. Come on.
No, it's definitely
Zed.
Zed.
100%. Stefan, what's this one about?
Well, this is based on real life events about Colonel Percival Fawcett, played in this instance by Charlie Hunnam, and it was sort of set. I think it must be 1920s, and he is a explorer who heads off on a kind of mission, leaving his wife, played by Sienna Miller, at home, and he heads off with Robert Pattinson's Henry Costin, and they discovered this kind of land, which they decide to call Zed, which is a kind of mysterious place in the Amazon, and he becomes kind of obsessed by it because he feels like there hasn't been any kind of human life in this particular place for such a long time, but he has found kind of objects and stuff that would suggest there has been in the past. And he becomes obsessed with going back, and he comes back to England and tells people about this incredible lost city of Zed and tries to convince them to let him return. But underneath that is very much a story about how it's that kind of passion, it's that kind of the fact that he won't stop by any means, and how it affects his relationship with his kids as well, with Tom Holland in it. So it's not just about the kind of exploring side of it. It's very much a kind of quite intimate character study about a man who's almost willing to kind of risk everything to chase his dreams.
Is Tom Holland his son in it?
Yes, he is.
10 years younger than him, isn't he?
This is later on in the character's life.
Oh, yeah,
so he's got a bit of grey hair.
A bit older, yeah.
It's the moustaches. You can tell the resemblance.
Yeah. It's a really great movie. It looks incredible. It's by James Gray, and for me, the thing that really grabbed me the most was just the kind of aesthetic. It has this kind of grainy, quite old feel to it that just really complements the narrative, I think.
From what I've seen, like, they've obviously shot on location. The cast is fantastic.
Yeah, they found Zed. It was
they found Zed. There they are. Look, they've taken the modern world to the jungle. Scott, what did you think?
Yeah, I really, really liked it as well. I agree with everything that Stefan said. It was shot on film. When we spoke to James Gray at the premiere, he was talking about how he shot it on film and how difficult it was shooting on film in the jungle, having to get, all the cameras and everything. But all that drive and determination, if you like, that he's done to shoot it that way gives it this amazing old-fashioned aesthetic. As Stefan said, it reminded me of stuff like Deliverance and Apocalypse Now, the way it's shot, and it has those great images and stuff like that. And it's a really, really, really well told story. It's quite a slow burner, but it's a slow burner with a purpose. And I really, really, really liked it. It's the best thing I've seen Charlie Hunnam do ever.
Yeah, and I thought he was, before I went into it, I was convinced he was going to be miscast, because he's playing this kind of 1920s, quite kind of middle class, like kind of very English colonel called Percival, like hello, that kind of accent.
How does it go, Stefan?
Hello. I just thought they've got this completely wrong, but he actually pulls it off. I thought that he did a really good job. I was convinced that he just wouldn't be right for this role, but he does. I thought he really got it, and I thought he did a really great job. And I thought Robert Pattinson as well was excellent, and as was Tom Holland. Although Tom Holland, though he'll obviously be in all the kind of advertising campaigns and stuff because he's Spider-Man, he's not actually in this quite as much. This is very much Charlie Hunnam's story. Him and Sienna Miller really are the kind of long-lasting characters in this film.
James Gray is one of those directors who is instantly fascinating to me, and I've loved everything he's done. This doesn't seem like an obvious thing for him to do until you said that thing about obsession and sort of exploring the inner landscape and the inner demons. Is that kind of something that which he picks up with this film as well?
I think so. Yeah, no, quite similarly to kind of like if you look at what Damien Chazelle was doing, I think his next film is this kind of Neil Armstrong biopic, and obviously he's done La La Land and he's done Whiplash, and there's that kind of continuing strand of people that won't stop at anything to kind of get what they want, and it's that balancing of ambition versus personal life. So I think no matter how grand this kind of story might be and how it's all about exploring and it's set across kind of decades, it feels like a real big epic drama, but at its core it is about a man who is chasing his dreams, basically. And so like you said, I think that despite what it might look like on the surface, this has got James Gray stamped all over it, and it is a very, you could almost pick up this character and place him in any situation. It's about obsession as much as anything else.
So what did we give this one, Stefan?
Oh, we gave it 3. That's a shame.
We gave this one 3 stars, but you'd give it 4, would you?
Yes, I would have given it 4.
Okay, cool. So again, let us know what you think of this one in the comments below once you've seen it. We've got interviews with Sienna Miller and director James Gray on the website on HeyUGuys.com, so make sure to check that out. Next up, we have, ready for it? Live, live, live.
There's going to be some sort of warning about this.
Yeah, we need one.
Contains Dave singing.
So, Life stars Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Wait, no, sorry.
It's Dean DeHaan and Robert Pattinson.
Dean DeHaan. I'm so confused. So Life is the new movie from Daniel Espinoza, who did Safe House. I can't remember what. Oh, Child 44. So it's a little bit different, but it's written by the Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who wrote Deadpool and also wrote Zombieland. Hence the inclusion of Ryan Reynolds. But it's about a team of scientists aboard an international space station who are on a mission to pick up some sort of discovery that they've found on Mars and to study it and maybe not bring it back to Earth, but to study it and learn from it and everything else. And the thing they bring back starts to become self-aware, shall we say, like Ridley Scott's Alien, starts to slowly tear through the space station and the humans that inhabit it.
From what the trailer I've seen, because I haven't seen this one, it does look like it's just Alien. Is it just Alien?
On the surface, yes, it is Alien, but I think it's a little bit different in the sense that I don't know, from the sense of the Alien, he's much more kind of self-aware in the sense that there's this theory going around that it's a Venom prequel, right? And all these fans have picked it up and talked about it. When you watch the film, not to give any spoilers away, but it does feel like that. When I watched it last night, I couldn't shake the fact that it wasn't a Venom prequel, because it acts like the symbiote from the Spider-Man stories, in the sense that it inhabits humans. It kind of learns from humans when it kind of takes over their bodies and destroys them, becomes self-aware and becomes smarter and smarter and smarter. And he's out, this being, whatever it is out thinking the humans. So in that sense, I guess it is like Aliens, but it felt a little bit fresher, I thought, than what a lot of films over the years have tried to do, which is to copy the Alien blueprint, if you like. It's also quite funny, you know, the guys that wrote it obviously wrote Deadpool. Most of the good lines go to Ryan Reynolds.
Well, the cast is very comedic, isn't it? I mean, even like Stefan, some of the funniest interviews you've ever done have been with Rebecca Ferguson. There she is floating through space, but she's just a hilarious person in in real life, isn't she?
Yeah, but I actually thought she was quite underused, particularly from a comedic standpoint. Because, yeah, like you said, she's one of those. Every time we've interviewed her, we've had such a great time. And then when you ever see her on talk shows and stuff, she's so engaging. But I think rarely when she's in a movie do people really utilise that side of her personality. And I think this movie, she's sadly hasn't got quite enough to do in that regard. I thought with the Alien kind of thing, I actually quite liked how it was quite similar, because I thought that what I love about Alien is that inability to understand the antagonist, where we have no barometer for what they're capable of, how powerful they are physically, or if they've got compassion, can you level with this being, with this organism? And I love that we can't understand the villain of this movie, which is so much more interesting than a human villain, where you always feel like you can kind of get underneath and into their kind of mind. So I love that aspect of it. But I actually think, despite having the Deadpool writers on board and despite having this cast, it didn't have quite enough laughs and enough light relief in this movie. I thought it was caught somewhere between a kind of B-movie survival flick and a very serious sci-fi. And I don't think it thrived in either side enough. I think it was caught somewhere in the middle and tried to have its cake and eat it a little bit. And I did like it. I thought it was quite a good sci-fi, but I think with the director, as good a director as Daniel Espinoza, and a cast like this, I did leave feeling slightly underwhelmed from this one.
I guess it's interesting to know what people are going to say about it, because some people might love it, some people might hate it, but you guys seem to be middle of the road. Would you say 3 stars, Stefan?
God, this is the 3-star Hey You Guys Mouth Off episode.
Scott, what do you reckon? Is it 3 or more?
No, I'd actually give it 4, actually, because I think I liked it a bit more. I found it quite tense, and I liked the fact as well that it didn't overstay its welcome. It's very tight in that respect. It's very lean in terms of, I think it's only just over an hour and a half. I like that aspect that they didn't kind of dwell on it for 2 hours plus. And for that reason, I thought it was great. So yeah, I agree with Stefan. There could have been more comedic aspects to it. There's, not to give any spoilers away, potentially a reason behind that. But no, I think I liked it a little bit more. So I'd give it 4 stars.
Cool. Well, let us know in the comments below. And it's quite a big week for films this week. We've got Chips out. I hear it ain't great.
It's so bad.
So bad.
And
I don't think I've ever been into a screening where I don't think anybody has laughed at all at any of the jokes they were trying. Literally, you could drop anything else. It was just quite awkward in a way, because you feel like somebody's going to laugh and you're going to then go, oh, why are you laughing, idiot? It's not funny.
And this is a studio movie as well.
You know when
you
see a comedy and at the end they do like a really stupid bloopers reel in like the credits, and you go, God, that is so cheap. I was like, please have a bloopers reel. I just need to laugh. I need to smile. But I mean, look, I'm sure he's a lovely bloke, and we interviewed him, and he is a lovely bloke. But Dacre Shepard, writer, director, and lead star, we know to blame. I know I'm blaming.
There's not really anywhere to hide, is there?
He's got nowhere to hide.
So this is the movie is based on the is it 70s TV show?
Yes, late 70s.
Chips, which I never watched. I don't know anyone who did, actually, because it's slightly before my time.
You know me. I used to watch it.
I was about to say, John,
and I had a Chips outfit, costume, dress-up kit with the blue helmet and the badge, and I rode around on my BMX crashing into things. It was a difficult time for me.
That sounds funnier than the movie.
Well, this is it. yeah, you can like just put together vines of kids falling off bikes, and it sounds funny. But I'm confused because I don't know Dak Shepard at all, but he seems like a fun guy. But Michael Pena he is the one of the funniest people we've got going at the moment. How can he fail to raise a smile in this?
Well, in the interview that we did with them, which is also available on the site, I think basically Dak Shepard wrote the part. The only person he could think to do it, or he wanted to do it, was Michael Pena. So I think probably Michael sort of, and bear in mind it's a studio movie, so I'm sure the pay wouldn't have been bad. I mean, that's a bit cynical, but.
No, but what I mean is he's a genuinely funny guy, and he seems to be. Don't get me wrong. In the interview, he did look a bit, resigned to the fact that it was a bit of a stinker. But he is just a funny guy. You can't help it. And I'm wondering how could he, unless he just appears on screen and doesn't say anything for like an hour and a half.
He says a lot. It's just unfunny stuff. He keeps making these kind of buddy cop films, and I just think that. He doesn't need to now. I think, but it's weird because End of Watch was incredible, and if that was the kind of good, and I thought War and Everyone was the bad, then Chips is definitely the ugly.
The tone of End of Watch was vastly different to this, but it was hilarious. The banter that they had between Jake and Michael throughout the whole film. I interviewed Michael for that film. And asked him if it was ad-libbed and he said no, it was scripted. So it was just genius writing, and I guess that just shows the difference between the two.
Yes,
indeed.
Well, you can watch our interview with Michael and Dax on the website, and do let us know if you hated it as much as we did. If you loved it, please do tell us. So I think just rounding up the week, there's a couple of smaller releases. Stefan, do you want to take this one away? So we've got The Age of Shadows.
Well, The Age of Shadows is Kim Ji-woon, who's he's an incredible filmmaker from Korea, and I think it's his first Korean film for about 6 years. So it's a very exciting kind of return of him, and it's sort of set in the 1920s. And again, it's got that incredible kind of aesthetic. It looks like it's just a real kind of film noir piece of cinema, which is getting incredible reviews. And as the Hey You Guys are quoted on the post up and down the country, one of the best Korean movies in... No, that's not what it is. I should know this, shouldn't I? Really?
Is it your words?
No.
Are you misquoting yourself?
No, it says something about...
It's better than Chips.
It says like, this is what reminds us why we love Korean cinema. It's along those lines, but we're right across the poster. So take our word for it, not mine, but ours.
Are we on that one? Is it that poster? Oh, no, it's not good quality. Are we there?
No, that's the playlist, isn't it?
No, it's a different one to that.
Oh, okay, I couldn't.
I've only seen it at Bond Street. Maybe it's literally only. It's just a one-off. They just printed.
It's at Oxford Circus as well. I've seen it on the way to work.
Oh, that's good.
And Another Mother's Son. This week seems to be a lot of sort of period movies out.
Yeah, and this is a true story about Louisa Gold, and it's set during the Second World War in Jersey, which I had no idea was Nazi occupied at the time. And it's about it's quite interesting just because we so often see World War II or just war films for that matter from the soldier's perspective, but it's very interesting to look at how the mothers and the wives, are getting on back at home, who are fighting their own battles and also sort of risking their lives daily as well. So that's the focus of this film. And it's got Ronan Keating in it, playing a character called Harold.
Is that good or bad?
To be honest with you, he's got quite a small role. He's all over the poster because people think this will help, but he's actually a very small part. But he acts, so he's been pretending like Harry Styles. 20 years.
Isn't Harry Styles in Dunkirk? And wasn't there some kid from Busted in Allies? What is it with boy bands doing World War II films?
They've kind of been acting. Oh, World War II films.
Specifically World War II films.
Yeah,
really
you're
weird.
right.
Maybe
I don't know. I guess that's
some
the
sort of
first
weird...
place people go to. I want to be taken seriously. I know the Second World War. Give me a gun and a little cap, and I'll be. Yeah.
Gun and a cap. That's how the Nazis with their guns and their caps.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave anyone from Busted to fight the Nazis. Though I think I'd probably pass on that front. Aquarius is the last one out this week, which is a Brazilian movie by Kleber Mendonça Filho, and it's been around. It's been a real kind of hit on the festival circuit, and it's about a woman called Clara who's now 65, and she's a retired music critic, and it's a kind of film that's all about across her life, and it's about her relationship with her family, past lovers, how technology is changing, how it's affecting her career, and it's just a very quite candid sort of character study, and it pulls out a fantastic performance from Sonia Braga, and that's comes very highly recommended from us. We gave that one 4 stars.
Excellent. So there's some really good films to watch this week, and there's some there's some to avoid as well. But as always, do let us know what you think of the films once you've seen them. And also let us know what you think of this Mouth Off vidcast or podcast or whatever you want to call it. Again, if you want to help us with our awful logo, here it is. Anyone could do better than that. Anyone.
Yikes.
So yeah, please help us with that. But as always, thank you so much, chaps, for joining us, and we'll see
It's
you next time.
Korean cinema at its best. I've just remembered.
There we go.
That's quite succinct. Nice.
Age of Shadows, Korean cinema at its best. You heard it here first, or second if you were in Bond Street. All right, have a good week, everybody. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,